Landing on Mars is easier said than done. In the last 50 years, spacecraft have landed on more than half a dozen solar systems, including Venus, Saturn's moon Titan, a comet, and many others. But nowhere has that proved more elusive than on the red planet Mars. To this day, only 40% of landing attempts have been successful. Yet looking at it, Mars looks pretty harmless, doesn't it? It doesn't have toxic clouds like Venus, and there's plenty of flat, stable land where you can land on like a comet. But that's the thing, the problem is not what you can see but rather what you can't. It's the atmosphere. On Earth, parachutes slow you down to 19 miles per hour, but on Mars even with a parachute you'll fall at 200 miles per hour, which is obviously not good. You could increase your parachute and slow down more, that's what NASA does. For example, the Curiosity robot used the largest supersonic parachute at the time when it landed in 2012. But even that parachute couldn't slow the robot down enough. To find out why, let's go back to skydiving. If you wanted to achieve the same landing speed on Mars as on Earth, you need to have a parachute 10 times as wide, or 33 meters in diameter, wide enough to cover the length of 2.5 buses. NASA's Curiosity robot weighs 13 times more than the average person, which means that to slow down to the same speed it will need an even bigger parachute, one that's about 121 meters in diameter. But in reality, Curiosity's parachute wasn't nearly that size, it was only 21 meters in diameter. Why? Because the bigger the parachute, the greater the chance it will break. In fact, the largest parachute ever created and tested is 45 meters long. Realistically, it's impossible to create a parachute big enough, which makes landing on Mars risky at best. So how do space agencies do this? Well, very carefully. First, the spacecraft launches a giant parachute to slow it down as much as possible, usually around the speed of 321 kilometers per hour, and then it fires the deceleration rockets the rest of the way. That doesn't sound very hard, but if the parachute doesn't launch at the right time or the rockets don't start at the right altitude, it's all over. To date, only 3 space agencies have attempted to land on Mars: NASA, the European Space Agency, and the former Soviet Union, none of which has had a perfect landing. So if landing on Mars is so hard, why do we keep doing it in the first place? Besides Moon, Mars has more artificial instruments on and around it than anywhere else in our system. And you could say that because Mars is so close in the first place, or because it's the best place to look for signs of alien life. You could say that with each new landing, we're one step closer to our greatest ambition, the ambition of becoming the first species to inhabit on a world beyond our own. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe and press the bell to be notified every time we post something new.